Launching as the rugged alternative and multi-day alternative to the sleek and somewhat safe Watch 5, just how does the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro stand up to scrutiny? Well, this is our full review of Samsung's latest and greatest and high-end smartwatch. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. So Samsung has ditched the Watch Classic lineup for 2022 and instead just supersized the regular Galaxy Watch design. That's about all you really need to know when comparing the Galaxy Watch 5 and the Watch 5 Pro. Because this is designed to be more rugged, there is a lip around the edges of the brand new sapphire glass screen, while the side buttons protrude a little bit further outwards, making them slightly easier to press. Each button includes excellent clicky feedback to boot, and that's all by the by, pretty by the numbers, as you would expect. The titanium case though, in the grey colour, it doesn't look quite as silver or as metallic as you'd expect. It's almost muddy and has a really nice industrial appeal is how I'd describe it. It seems odd that Samsung though would omit a rotating bezel on this version, but that was likely removed to ensure shared design lineage. Whatever the reason though, the Watch 5 Pro is sleek, albeit much bigger than the Watch 4 and the base Watch 5 models. To be frank, this is an ultra chunky wearable. Adding extra bezels and buttons would make it even more oversized, more than likely. I'm very happy though that Samsung didn't do it this time around. And the digital bezel is still really useful, and because there is that curved screen edge lip, you can almost slide your finger along in a guide rail with consummate ease. It's a nice touch that aids the transition away from that popular physical hardware tool, but I'm sure that some of you out there will still be disappointed. As for the screen at 450 by 450 pixels, the display itself is a hair sharper this time around, and it does get exceptionally bright, even in direct sunlight. I actually found it fully legible when we have sunny days here in the UK, and the adaptive settings are great, if a little slow to react in mixed lighting conditions. I did find though that fingerprints could be an issue on that sapphire glass screen, as grease and detritus will build up easily here. I'm not sure if this is a coating related issue, but I regularly found that I needed to wipe my watch screen quite a bit to make it fully legible in all scenarios. I do though need to be frank with regard to the Watch 5 Pro's fit and finish, as out of the box, this is the most frustrating and painful experience that this smartwatch provides. The new premium D-buckle band, which is an optional extra, is actually the most uncomfortable and cumbersome watch strap that I've ever had the displeasure of using. I lost count of the number of times that I pinched the skin on the underside of my wrist while trying to clasp this on properly, and while loosening the clasp, it's an arduous and outright painful experience. This became so much of a bugbear that I opted to detach it and use a third-party fabric band, which I probably would have done in the long term anyway. And this achieves a similar fit as Samsung's $80, yes, $80 band, and it costs under $10. Luckily, this is a godsend, as it almost put a stop to my Galaxy Watch 5 Pro review efforts almost instantly. Removing the Watch 5 Pro to charge or just generally taking it off was more than a little of annoyance, and it became an uncomfortable process that I actually tried to avoid as much as possible, and that's not something that you really want from a wearable that is supposed to come off at certain parts of the day. Luckily, most 20mm watch bands will fit perfectly, and I do implore you to find a fit that suits you best. Plus, you do have all of the colour options and extra colour options rather than that staid grey and black rubberized D-buckle strap out there to purchase. Although the new strap itself does have an experience-breaking flaw, when it is fitted, it's snug and it does ensure that you do get full coverage of the all-important sensors right there on your wrist. I would say try this out for yourself, see if it works for you. It didn't work in my experience, but some people may find this to be a very good watch strap. Thickness aside, much has been made of the thickness of the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, and rightfully so. This is a big, bulky wearable that might not be for everybody out there. Even though it's only a few millimeters thicker, or at least a few millimeters have been added to all dimensions, you are going to notice that the watch face sits up or protrudes highly from your wrist. The titanium chassis also adds a little extra bulk that you might not notice or ordinarily notice on other smartwatches. It's almost 50% heavier than the standard 40mm Watch 5. And of course, there are reasons for this, but you will be aware of the Watch 5 Pro most of the time that you are wearing it. In terms of software on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, One UI 4.5 comes pre-installed atop Wear OS 3.5, and this brings little in the way of major changes over last year's Wear OS 3.0 introduction on the Galaxy Watch 4. It's a different approach to how Wear OS should look and feel, but in many ways it's all the better for it, as things were becoming a little forgotten and stale until Google reaffirmed commitment to the platform. This time the Google Assistant also comes preloaded, as it was launched midway through the life cycle of the Galaxy Watch 4, but it's not set by default. Instead, Bixby is your preferred companion right out of the box, and you can change this quickly, but it is an annoyance for those of us out there that prefer Google's baked-in AI helper. I cannot claim though that the experience is vastly superior here from the Galaxy Watch 4 or even the Watch 5, but what is noticeable is the improvements and updates to many of the core applications. Many Google apps now have a Material You lick of paint, which is certainly something missing this time a year ago. The new Play Store is better, or a better hub, but it still feels a little bit bare bones. An anemic app selection on the platform doesn't help, but even this has improved a little since Samsung re-centered or re-entered the Wear OS space. I'm hopeful that the upcoming Pixel Watch and cohort of Snapdragon W5 Plus Gen 1 wearables will also attract yet more developers to port apps to the platform. I'm sorely missing the Tidal app on my wrist, but overall the picture is definitely going to be a little bit clearer and a little bit more positive moving forward. In the internal side of things, sticking with the Exynos W920 and those same 1.5GB of RAM and 16GB of storage might seem like a shocking oversight by Samsung. In reality though, it actually didn't cross my mind all too often. Slowdowns, they're very few and far between, and the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is slick, smooth, and it runs very well once it's warmed up. Clearly Samsung has been optimizing this chipset and the setup here over the past year or so, but it will be interesting to see how the internals and performance stack up once new Qualcomm powered wearables hit store shelves in the coming months. As it stands though, things are perfectly fine. If you wanted a big step up, then I'm sorry, you're not going to get it this time around with this expensive wearable option. As this is a upgraded version of the standard Watch 5, there is a full suite of fitness tracking which has been slightly increased here on the 5 Pro. There are more tailored additions for hiking, trail running and outdoor activities such as those. That said, there are some 90+ modes available, which is par for the course on a wearable device here in 22. For the adventurous, the new track back function that remembers your route and offers you a backwards step-by-step approach to your start point will come in handy when hiking or walking on trails. My experience has been good the couple of times that I've tried this, but as someone who tends to stick firmly to the pavement, it's practically useless in my own daily life. The same can be said of the GPX file upload function. It'll likely come in handy for the select few that require it, but it's not something that we average wearers will be able to truly take advantage of. And I'll leave it to those people more versed in all things off-roading, trail biking and hiking in general to properly analyze this. And it wouldn't be fair for me to comment on functions that I cannot and would not use extensively enough to give you any accurate feedback upon, but these options are there if you do want them. I will say that I do love that auto tracking feature for walks and runs. Although it isn't new, it's excellent to have your smartwatch just buzz and pick up even brief trips and journeys and then get it all logged within the Samsung Health app. Getting heart rate data and feedback on even brief exercise is useful if you're trying to shift that COVID lockdown way. I will say though that limiting the blood pressure and electrocardiogram reading options to Samsung Galaxy phones is absolutely criminal given the price of the Watch 5 Pro. From a purely business perspective, this does make sense to Samsung, but it's unfair to buyers to hold features and core functions to ransom just because you do not choose to use a Galaxy phone. Using a Pixel 6a throughout my review period, I found this incredibly frustrating, and I actually decided to pair with my review unit to the Galaxy Z Fold 4 to test these functions out. Sure, they're great headline additions, but the limited nature and my lack of knowledge of the accuracy of such tools mean it's something I'll live without moving forward. It would be or at least I would be very surprised if someone picked up a Samsung Galaxy device just to access ECG and blood pressure functions, the latter of which is still not even available in the US as it is region locked. I will say though that Samsung's sleep tracking is still among the best. While it's useful to be able to get such data, the sheer size of the Watch 5 Pro means I wouldn't necessarily recommend wearing this watch to bed. There's also the disappointment of the skin temperature function not yet being available, but an update will be needed before that is ready to be used, and I'm interested to see myself just how this operates. So having worn the predecessor, the Galaxy Watch 4, for the better portion of a year, I actively look forward to avoiding the charger as long as possible with the Watch 5 Pro. The good news is that this is a multi-day wearable even when using it extensively. I can manage almost 3 full days before I need to plonk the Watch 5 Pro on that improved charging puck, and that even includes GPS and light workout tracking with sleep pattern analysis all thrown in. I did wear it to bed throughout my review period, but again, as I mentioned previously, I just wouldn't recommend from a simple comfort perspective. Not wearing in bed could even net more lifespan as those sensors won't be active all night. And even with that always on display function active, I could actually reach the end of 2 days without worrying all too much whether the Watch 5 Pro would need to hit the charger. It would be great to see a little further battery optimization within Wear OS and with the Exynos W920 processor though, but with some extra tuning, Samsung might even be able to break that 4-day barrier with regular usage. If you simply want a wearable for basic notification management and do not care for fitness tracking and associated health functions, you might even be able to garner greater lifespan. For those of us though out here wanting a little bit of everything, well, I think you are very well catered for. And Samsung's decision to up that charging speed to 10 watts is another important upgrade with the Galaxy Watch 5 series. This itself means you can charge the Watch 5 Pro's pretty large 590 mAh battery in well under 2 hours from 0%. The charging puck has evolved here too. Not only is the connector upgraded to USB-C, meaning you can use it with your fast chargers, the magnetic puck is weighted and metallic. This means that it's more durable and can be placed on a surface a little bit more easily. It's still light, but not as light as its 5-watt predecessor. So to summarise and boil this down into a verdict, there are a number of very valid reasons you might want to take a look at the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, and almost all of those relate to the lifespan. We are still at a point in time whereby charging once per day or even once every couple of days is a necessity for a modern smartwatch. When using the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro though throughout my review period, I've charged just 3 times from 0 to 100%. The prospect of hitting that charger so few times in 1 week really is an excellent feeling, one that will likely be enough for many prospective buyers to bite. The undoubted compromise though is the increased size and to a greater extent the pricing. However, you do get enough of the kind of features more regularly associated with the likes of Garmin, Coros and Polar GPS sports and fitness watches, with all of the benefits of Wear OS integration and more cohesion with your Android smartphone thrown in. It's a tough balancing act, but one that at $449 becomes harder to recommend when upgrades are overall quite minimal. Make no mistake though, the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is the best Wear OS watch we've ever reviewed, at least for now. If you simply must have a smartwatch powered by Google's OS and are happy to pay a hefty premium, then this is probably the only place to look. So that's our opinion on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. We would love to know just what you're looking forward to most, or if you have any questions about this wearable, but as always, thank you for watching. This is Damien with 9to5 Google, and I will speak to you later.